It's a really emotional experience. It's a really exhilarating artistic experience. And it's, I can't wait for people to see the movie.
Well, that was always the idea that Amy and I first talked about, was casting a younger Peter Parker than had ever been in the movies before.
Yeah.
And if we were lucky and if the audience responded, we could chart his growth and the maturity through high school, through the experience of interacting with the other Marvel characters. And starting with a mentor in Iron Man, in Civil War and Homecoming, and then see him grow beyond that and deal with the loss of that mentor. And as we saw in Far From Home and in No Way Home, Peter growing into the hero that we all know and love. So it is quite surreal to be here on the in the final weeks before audiences will get to see, in a lot of ways, the culmination of that journey that started with a conversation between Amy and I a number of years ago.
It's kind of the culmination of his origin story.
Yep. The fun thing about having Peter Parker in the MCU is interacting with the other Marvel characters. And obviously Iron Man was the primary point of interaction in Homecoming. Nick Fury played that part very, very well in Far From Home. And it made sense that we were going to leave Peter in Far From Home with a big problem, as big a problem as he'd ever faced, which is his identity is revealed. And that was very fun on that movie because it forced us into a really big problem to solve in the next in this next movie. The difference between a Spider-Man not living in the MCU and a Spider-Man living in the MCU is that there are people you can go see when you have these life-changing, world-altering problems. And people remember from Infinity War that he did get to meet Doctor Strange. He took a quick jaunt to space with Doctor Strange. So it did make sense that when faced with this problem, and more for his friends than for him, when people see the movie, he would go to someone he thinks could help him. And that's really where the story begins.
And it's a beautiful relationship between him and Doctor Strange in the movie, because although they went through that traumatic experience together, they get to know each other in this movie. And Peter goes from, Stephen thinking of him as a kid with some extraordinary abilities to being a full-fledged hero in and of himself. All of them are such fantastic actors in and of. Each of them are such great actors, and we were so lucky that they loved playing those parts as much as the audience, and we loved seeing them, so that they really did want to come back and reprise those roles.
People are speculating on what they can expect, and I hope they're surprised in many different ways when they see it. We've not put out a Spider-Man movie in the holidays before. I remember Amy going back to Spider-Man 2 or Spider-Man 3 wanting snow and the holidays.
Begging Sam to put snow in the movie.
We have that in this movie. And it just seems like an amazing bit of timing when the world is ready for there to be something to bring us together, even just for a couple of hours in a movie theater. And I think this movie can do that.
Yeah, me too.